Welcome to the ANNABELIZATION podcast here in India, in Kerala, at the Nisarga Art Hub Community Centre, which is yours.
Yes.
I'm so honoured to be here with the creators of this amazing space.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful being here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And you look absolutely beautiful. What a nice... What is it exactly?
This is a traditional Indian attire called the salwar or churidar. Goes by different
See, I
names.
was going to say sari and I stopped myself so I wouldn't sound ignorant.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit different, but I could say the same thing about you.
Thank
you look
you.
lovely.
Thank
and
you.
My husband here looks handsome as well.
Very,
Let's not leave
yes.
him out.
It is not my role to say that. I'm here really because I want to showcase the amazing art that you create here in your space.
Thank you.
And the opportunity you give to these artists to come from far, from all over India, to come to your art hub and to showcase what they're really about.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. But before we showcase and we talk about them, I want to talk about you.
Sure.
So please first tell us your names and
Right.
how, you got into music, how you met,
Okay.
and how you came to create this space.
Yeah, it's a long story, but we'll try to make it short. I'm Lakshmi, and this is Vishnu.
Just like the fables.
Yeah, the gods and goddesses. Yeah, but we didn't plan this, honestly. It just happened. It was a happy coincidence. But so I guess how it all started is I have been learning Indian classical music from when I was 6 years old, and probably Vishnu similar age when he started. But we grew up in different parts of India.
But I grew up here in Kerala.
Yeah, and I grew up in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai.
Okay.
Which is the other side. Down south, but south east
On
and
the other side.
southwest.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I guess the one common thing with our families was that both of our families were always into music, and they're all music lovers. So it was inevitable that we started learning how to sing, and we're both vocalists. And
So it was an easy entry into the field of arts
Yes.
or field of music specifically.
this
Yeah.
is important because for an art form like classical music, especially South Indian classical music, a little bit of exposure at home always helps.
Yeah.
It's a great initiation into the art form because the sounding is very different from other musical
Maybe
genres.
like popular music.
It's true. This morning, so I'm really lucky because I get to stay in this amazing art hub. And in the morning, I get awoken by this beautiful vocalizing. And I already feel like I'm more Indian now.
Did I wake you up?
No, but I love it.
I know
It's
you're
amazing.
a morning person, but
It's making fun of me in front of my fans. No, it's good. But this is what I mean, that I can understand how growing up with it around you really shapes your ear.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah. Because it is a slightly, it's a very evolved art form that's probably evolved over centuries. We even now we sing compositions that are over 100, 200 years old, and it's a very structured art form, I guess, and
a
learning
lot of
it.
focus is on carrying the legacy
Yeah,
because it was an oral tradition.
Okay.
Because we never used to have recording back in like
yeah.
1800s.
No notations, no sheet
Some of
music.
some of them are notated, but then how much how much information can a notation carry?
Yeah.
Right, it's music we are talking about. How about the dynamics? So much of information may be lost, but then thanks to the oral tradition, we still carry some of it even now.
Yeah.
So you
that's
were
the-
mainly taught by your family, or you
No.
also
No,
had
from gurus,
Gurus.
who are who have learnt from their gurus. So it's a
So
lineage. we
just like
say.
you have generations at home, you have a lineage of how the art has been taught from one person to another. And when you learn from a particular person, you're sort of carrying forward their legacy of what they learned from their teachers and
Okay.
so on. And
Yeah.
so it is...
So it's a big responsibility also to
Yeah.
not screw it up. But then we have a lot of liberty to do our own stuff. So it's not like really like tightly bound.
Yeah.
Well, the grammar is pretty strict in our music, as in we do follow a different raga system, where if we take to one particular scale, we're supposed to follow all of the rules that particular raga entails. But our music also has a lot of improvisation that is done on the spot, on stage. And that's the exciting part of our
So
performance.
I guess 60 to 70% of what happens on stage while doing a Carnatic music performance is all on the spot.
I was
Heavily
just going to
improvised.
ask you actually. So, as a French person who doesn't know much yet about Indian music, so your style exactly, what its name, and then how would you really like give a crash course definition difference between European music, Western music, and your style?
Sure. So our music is called Carnatic music.
Okay.
It is the South Indian classical art form that we
So
practice.
Indian classical music mainly is divided into North and
Okay,
South. North
yeah.
Indian classical music is called Hindustani, which is more popular worldwide
Okay.
because of
Artists
legendary instrumental artists like Pandit Ravi Shankar, who popularized Hindustani music through sitar. So sitar is like very famous now.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have so many other instruments which are not as famous as sitar. So it's the contribution of one legend, you know. So Hindustani music and also Dhrupad. North Indian music has got Hindustani music and Dhrupad. Dhrupad is comparatively older than Hindustani. It's before Persians came to India. So it's maybe like even 1,000 years old.
Okay. Wow.
Whereas Carnatic music is practiced in the south, was evolved more in the southern part of India through like temples, and it was a means for god worship mainly.
Okay.
So it has a lot of religious aspects attached to it. Each composition we practice is
usually on a deity or a god
on
or
a
a
deity
goddess.
and praising the deities and asking
for favors.
Does it work?
Sometimes I guess. Well, that's how
it's
we
your
met.
belief.
I hope Annabelle comes to our art center.
And let's do this podcast.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It
I'm here.
What also worked is that we met because of Carnatic music, I could say, because it is a very small group of people that practice this art form.
Yeah. And before that, I have to say I grew up here and Lakshmi in Chennai.
Yeah,
Did we say that already?
kind of did.
Okay.
But Vishnu moved to Chennai for work, but also because he wanted to focus on Carnatic music
More
seriously. And
because Chennai is the place to be for Carnatic music. It's
Chennai. Okay.
Right.
yeah, it's a very, very happening city. It's a musical city.
Right.
It's UNESCO recognized
Really?
for its cultural activities.
Wow.
It is the place
especially in the month of December and January, where
undoubtedly it is the place with maximum number of concerts happening in a fixed span of time.
yeah.
Really?
We are talking in the lines of like 1,000 and 2,000 concerts
Wow.
in a month.
But is it mainly your style? Or
Yes,
is
this
Yeah.
is mainly
No.
for Carnatic
Yeah,
music.
it's only for Carnatic
So for
music. yeah.
Right.
Carnatic music, it's the hub
It's
of
It
India.
definitely
yes.
is.
Okay.
And that's why he moved to Chennai, and then we met through common friends, and we fell in love and got married 12 years back.
That's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, and I guess from then it's been, so we do individually also focus on our journeys, where Vishnu performs quite extensively. I do perform, but I'm more of a teacher. I teach some students in India and abroad. Vishnu also teaches a few students. So I guess we have our own pursuits, but we've also together tried to explore composing, tried to experiment a little bit with Carnatic music, all the while keeping in mind the roots and the boundaries intact. But we did our own composition called Biri, which we played for you earlier, which is we've tried to do a 2-part harmony using Carnatic ragas. And the challenging part was that in Carnatic music or Carnatic ragas, we have the notes are oscillating and we have these microtones. So while harmonizing, while doing a 2-part harmony, it's very important not to dilute that aspect of that particular raga, because then the whole raga is gone.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds very complex.
And coming back to, I think, the question that she asked,
Yeah.
she wanted us to tell a little bit about the differences
Right.
between. Yeah, so I think the main difference is that in the Western system, the notes are the pitch is absolute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like if you take a C note, it's always C.
Yeah.
It has a position which is absolutely
Intact, yeah.
intact, yeah.
Yeah.
But here in our system, we have Sari Gama Padhani, right? These are our 7 notes, and Sa can assume any position. So it's
Okay.
relative pitch system. So according to the Sa, all the other notes also will change relative to Sa.
Okay. I see.
Positions.
Yeah.
And the
So-
sa is usually fixed based on a person's tonal ability or the
Range,
range.
basically.
Yeah, the
Okay.
voice range and how much.
How much you can go down and how much you can go up.
Okay.
For example, my pitch is G sharp, while Vishnu's pitch is C sharp.
Which
And-
means when I sing a concert, I fix my Sa as C sharp.
Throughout.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. So and also one of the main differences is that our notes, we call them swaras.
Swaras.
They oscillate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Okay.
So it depends on the context. It depends on the ragas, basically.
Yes. Mhm.
Some of the ragas have a lot of swaras which oscillate. So which means, except of course Sa and Pa,
Which are constant.
which are
Okay.
the bass notes. The other notes have the power to oscillate. So for example, a re can be it can be fixed, or re. So
Okay.
it's a movement rather than a fixed frequency.
Yeah.
So you have to understand the Indian Swaras systems as a system of movement or collection of movement,
Amazing.
rather than collection of just independent notes.
Okay, it's really you are
So it's
challenging
intricate.
my concept of music at the moment.
So in this oscillation, what happens is that it involves a lot of micro notes.
I see.
It touches a lot of. It's like a wave, right?
Yeah, it's
So it touches a lot of, in between notes. So
Yeah.
there is nothing off about that.
Yeah, I love it. So this complexity, I mean, you said that you teach, right? So I'm guessing you have students who are not Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, how do you, really give them and how do you share this cultural music, like very embedded in religion and
Yes.
in many, like, you said it's legacy and it must mean so much to you and, to your culture.
Yeah.
And how do you actually infuse that to students who aren't not Indian? How can they understand? How can they feel it?
Right. So I have just one student who is not Indian, which goes to say that our music, this particular form of music, is not as widespread as we'd like it to be someday. But I guess it's also how much a person wants to learn this form of music, because sometimes when a person listens to Carnatic music for the first time, it can almost seem alien and not very relatable, I guess, because like I said, if you have grown up listening to it, you can have an ear for it. But if not, it can fall. It can sound completely like very different and too different to pursue. So I do have one student who's not Indian, and what I try to do is, luckily this person also reads a lot about India and the culture. So as you said rightly, a lot of culture goes into learning the art form itself, because I think not just the religious texts of the gods and goddesses, it's also about understanding I guess how we work as people, as a system, how India is very different culturally, and I guess within India itself we have a lot of diversity.
Right.
And to understand that is important, I think, before attempting to learn one of these art forms. And what we try to follow, though, is to start from the very basics. And there is a structured way of how we learned it and how we can teach it as well.
Okay.
So since I started learning from when I was 6, which means not revealing my age, I guess. No, that's fine. I've been learning for almost 30 years now. So I guess the structured way in which I was taught helps me to teach as well. And it sort of puts things in perspective because it's not too much at the beginning. It goes a little bit.
Yeah.
We ease people into it.
I see. But I wanted to ask about how can someone who isn't Indian connect with the deity, for example, that they're singing to? How can they feel what you're feeling when you're singing?
That's a very interesting question because there are 2-3 aspects to this. Now, let's say you're listening to Carnatic music, but not through a vocalist. You're listening to an instrument playing Carnatic music. You're not going to understand, even a person who knows the language may not know what deity is being sung about. So it's more the music.
It's only in the instrumentalist's mind that the lyrics is going on.
Okay.
So
the audience is not able to hear that, right?
Okay.
Right. So I think both the emotion as well as the affinity towards the deity is probably in the head of the artist, but how it comes through to a listener is very subjective. So if you're able to relate to it with a particular emotion, then there you go, you're enjoying it. Or if you're just intellectually, it is stimulating you. For example, you try to figure out the notes the instrumentalist is playing,
and there's a lot of mathematical aspects too. So if you're like intellectually super
invested,
curious about things, then that can stimulate
you.
You
So
in that way.
Carnatic music is a little bit cerebral in terms of a lot of math goes into what is performed. The ragas, the intricacies happen on the spot, and they're playing around within the boundaries, but they're still improvising.
And
so
it's also emotionally very, very rich.
it is.
So, but it doesn't mean that the audience have to feel the exact same way as the artists feel.
Exactly.
Unlike some of the other systems or songs where people just go with the word meanings.
Right.
They follow the lyrics, and the lyrics kind of guide you. With the emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Here it's not like that. Lyrics
I guess
can
cliche.
also take a backseat.
Correct. Cliche as it may sound, music does not have languages here, because especially if you don't speak the language. In fact, we speak different languages in our households, but we sing in languages we don't even speak.
Okay.
For example, we sing in Sanskrit, we sing in Telugu, we sing in Kannada, and these are languages we don't speak. Even sometimes Hindi or Urdu. So and
so,
the way
my mother tongue is Malayalam and her mother tongue is Tamil. So when I sing Tamil, I won't be able to feel as strongly as she might feel. Right.
And so, for example, if I were your student for the day and I had to sing a song to Saraswati, how would you guide me to, I don't know, connect with her or connect with the meaning behind the song, even if I don't understand what I'm singing?
Sure. So I would tell you to just about who the goddess is and what she stands for. For example, Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. So you could think of her as giving you the blessing to sing, or blessing you with education, or whatever it is that you want to pursue. And maybe just have that in mind while you learn the song. But I would also have to tell you a lot about the raga we're singing the song in.
Yeah.
Because
so it's more about in a nutshell, it's more about the raga than it's about the
words or who it is about.
That is again a subjective. I have to admit it's a subjective thought.
It is.
Because there are artists who think that words are even more important than the raga. Some people place them equally. But it again, I think it depends on the artist.
Correct. And what in fact, to understand a particular raga, it's not as straightforward as just knowing the notes that are, that form the scale of the raga. What we usually recommend to people is to learn as many compositions as possible in one particular raga. For example, if I take a raga called Kalyani and I know 10 compositions in Kalyani, I would understand the raga much better than if I knew just one
Right.
in Kalyani.
Okay.
So, to understand the raga, you learn more composition. So, over here, the raga takes a little more importance,
see.
and
Yeah.
the compositions are
Yeah,
just
and
helping
also
you.
having said that, we also try to understand the meaning of the songs
Yeah.
that we sing,
Of course.
and at least understand them on a, as much as we can,
Yeah.
though we are not native, though we may be singing in a language that we are not
Native speakers of,
of.
Yeah.
We try as much as possible to understand what it is about, and so that that becomes an extra aspect of enjoyment
Yeah.
when we sing, or it guides us through the process when we perform, right? It gives us another layer of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So there are different layers of enjoyment here.
Yeah.
It's just only the musical side. Imagine my voice is just an instrument.
Yeah.
Even if you don't understand the words, you may be able to enjoy the melody coming out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
This raga concept for me is
Yeah.
really
New.
opening my
New,
mind up
yeah.
a lot. I like it. But so for you, having grown up with this system of ragas and singing the kind of music you sing, how do you think that has actually shaped you into the people you are and also the kind of artist you are? Because you talked about there's a lot of improvisation.
Yes.
So how does this impact the rest of your life?
Oh, that's interesting.
I would think mostly this music has given us a lot of spontaneity in life,
Yeah.
because we don't plan anything. We just go with
But
the
that's
flow
probably
every day.
just us. I don't know. This is again.
I don't know. Maybe it is
subjective.
subjective. Yeah, but we.
I
That's
believe
okay.
that usually.
I think we have to talk about us.
Yeah, I
Yes,
guess.
I think so. Let me check if there's anyone else in this podcast.
Right. Okay. So, good or bad, we're very similar in how spontaneous we are. Be it in taking decisions or like big life altering decisions, we just go with the flow. We don't really plan too much. So yeah, I guess, and it's also made us, I guess, very connected to our roots, because we somehow felt that we would always, I mean, Carnatic music is always going to be an integral part of our lives, and I think that is constant with us.
I think even the decision to come back from the US to settle
India.
down here.
No
and,
second thoughts. We knew
You were
we
living
were
in the
Yeah,
US.
we were living
for
in
a
the
couple
US
of years.
for a couple
Oh,
of
where?
years. And
Atlanta mainly.
Oh, okay.
Briefly in
Connecticut.
Connecticut as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And before we left to the US, this was just to save a little bit of money before we took the plunge to take music up full time.
Yeah.
We knew we would come back, but a lot of people told us, oh, once you settle down there, you're not going to want to come back. But I guess we both had
because
the...
that's a life that many people dream of, right?
Yeah.
I think to have a settled life in the US is I think probably many people's dream. But then for us, we always wanted to come back.
The pull was really strong.
And the purpose was achieved,
Yeah.
right? And then there was no point in staying there, because
we
we
always
belonged
knew. Yeah.
here, and this is where we wanted to live. We of course like to travel a lot.
Yeah.
We travel.
We try to travel as much as possible.
much as
but
possible.
I don't know, we feel comfortable at home probably most.
With our people around, with
Right.
very comfortable, situation to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also music has, because how important it is in our lives, it's also led to this whole art hub thing that we're sitting in today, which was absolutely not planned.
Again, the spontaneity.
Something that just happened, and we embraced it because we just had an open mind.
There's a fascinating story behind your space, because it's doesn't look like any regular space.
Yeah.
First of all, it's like this gorgeous
Thank you.
area that is just in itself makes you want to do music.
Yeah, okay, if that's what you say, the purpose is achieved. Because we originally we had no ideas or plans of moving to Kerala to like live permanently, but we wanted to build
We
a
were living
small
in Chennai.
space. We were living in Chennai around COVID, and then we were just visiting family here, and we just wanted to build a small mud or eco-friendly space for us to come back to whenever we felt like it, just to come away from the city. But what eventually happened was we found an architect who is an artist himself. His name is Vinu Daniel. His firm is called Wall Makers, and we approached him because he's one of the few people who deal with earth-friendly architecture, sustainable architecture, and we felt his work to be extremely unique and very creative, and it really stood out for us. And when he found out that we were into art, he wanted to give us a space that would be conducive to art learning, practicing art, even performing or discussing, learning, practicing together, whatever. So that's how this whole thing started, and even we didn't know how it would shape up. The architect didn't know what we would do with this space, but once it all came together, we knew we should do something with it, because it came up really very, very beautifully. And the space outdoors is very unique, where people can sit on the roof and listen to music that's being performed on stage, with a stage that is set over the swimming pool. So it's a beautiful setting. And we felt like we needed to open this house up with a concert. And last November, 2023 November, we had our first October. We had our first concert, and that was a smashing success in terms of.
It was on a full moon night.
It was on a full moon night. So we named it.
Here, nature, architecture, and
art,
music,
creativity,
everything comes together as a package.
Yeah, and I guess what really inspired us was the reception it got. When we announced that we were going to do a concert here. This is a very remote space in Kerala. It's not even a big city. It's a village, actually. And the number of people who called us from outside of the state, there was even an English gentleman who came all the way from London to be a part of this weekend.
Wow.
And it just left us feeling so inspired, because we felt that people are craving this need to be a part of a community of like-minded people, of art lovers, just being together, talking about art, practicing art, learning together. And
point to note, this was soon after COVID.
It was soon after.
So people were craving to be back in a community setting. People were locked down in their houses, right?
Yeah.
So it's.
But I also think that the nature of your relationship with music and how you emanate what you emanate as artists, it also is what makes this space so welcoming, and people can see right through how authentic it is and how it's been created for the real love for music. It's not like a.
That is true. In fact, selfishly speaking, we wanted a lot of artists to come home and perform here, because I grew up in Chennai and I had art all around me, but my children were growing up here with not much exposure to art forms, and honestly, we ourselves the exposure to the varied art forms is always limited, right? Because it's limited by geography, it's limited by how much you know or the people you know. So we thought, what if there's a space where there are different art forms that are being showcased every month, and your mind grows a lot, and your children are exposed to all of these different art forms, and then you get to meet all of these lovely people. You're hosting artists. It just felt like a really a calling, probably. And we opened up our home.
And best thing about this space is that it draws a lot of positivity, a lot of lovely people like you.
Exactly. No, really, what's been most rewarding, I think, is meeting people who have
it has a certain energy that is attracting positive vibes.
That's true.
So
to me, it's a bit like you created a mini India within here, right? Because you say how there's so much culture in India, and it's very varied, and it's so rich, and you were in a bit of a remote location, and so you created this center where then everyone comes, and there's different styles.
And growing up here, I had to travel miles to attend a concert, because the access to music is not all that much here in this part of the state.
Okay.
Unlike probably in Chennai where she grew up, she had more access. I think my father had to take me in, trucks and all that. I mean,
hitchhike.
Hitchhike.
But speaking of music, I would actually really love to have a little moment where you guys showcase what the music you do.
Sure.
Okay.
So you've showed me 2 of the songs that you've
Yes.
done. You did an original composition, and then you also did a song
An
that.
interpretation of an existing
Yeah.
composition, yes.
So I would love it if you could bless
Yeah.
us with a little bit of
Of course.
an
Just
excerpt.
Maybe just
Yeah.
the starting
It's a
few lines.
moment. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So which one will you start with?
I think the
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, the original.
Okay,
Yeah.
your original song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You got sa?
Huh?
You got the sa?
Yeah.
Or is it too low?
It's a bit low.
Okay. Here we are shifting sa.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
So
sa.
interesting.
Now we are going to try sa. விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே
சக சக மாம கரி சாணி
விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே பனி பனி சாசனி நித பாம விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே அதில் உருவம் நிறம் வேறில்லை விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே
அதில்
உருவம் நிறம்
வேறில்லை
விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே அதில் உருவம் நிறம் வேறில்லை விழி இரண்டு பார்வையொன்றே.
Wow.
So this is what
So
she
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. What were you
So
going to
this
say?
this is what we talked about in a little earlier about harmonizing the oscillations.
Yeah.
So basically we have usually in the Western system of harmony we have plain notes which are harmonized, you know.
And it's easier to do.
It's easier to do, but here with the movements it becomes difficult to harmonize because in this particular scale, this raga is called Dhanya C.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very difficult scale because of its oscillation. So sa is plain always. Ga ma plain. Pa again plain. Ni sa. This is the ascending. Sa ni da ba ma ga ri sa. So that movement is very very complicated
Yeah.
for a
And there are
person who's
some
listening it for the
things-
first time. For a person who's trying it for the first time.
Yeah.
Ni da ba ma ga ri sa.
And there are some rules, I mean, some things that are allowed. Like, sa ni da pa is allowed. Magarisa. So when we found the symmetry in what is allowed within the scope of the raga, we tried to do a 2-part harmony that doesn't compromise on the rules or the grammar or the structure, but at the same time can be sung together. So if I sing sa ga ri sa ni sa sa ri ni sa, I am using the gamakams or the oscillations that are allowed or permitted in this raga, and he sings the other part.
Pani da ba ma pa pa da ma pa. So it's very similar.
Coincides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's the
it's
only
really
way we
beautiful.
can harmonize
And then we
oscillating
also
notes.
put some lyrics which go well with the theme.
So what do the lyrics say?
They talk about basically harmony, looking for oneness in everything. For example, we give a few examples like we have 2 eyes, but we only always see one particular thing. We can't see 2 different things. Similarly, when you see a reflection of yourself in the mirror, you may see 2 different parts, but there's only one entity that is true. And then
same with echo.
Echo.
Like when you hear yourself again and again, it's just, but the source is the same.
the shadow. So you see a shadow, but the source is one and the same. You will see 2 different things, but there's only one source. So rather than looking for the differences in this world, why don't we look
seemingly
for the
different things.
Yeah.
But it all emerges from one source. Or in India we have we have this Advaita philosophy where it says that we are all reflections of one cosmic consciousness, or which is otherwise called Brahma.
So if you talk religiously, if you're looking for the divine, you actually have to look within yourself, is what they say. And if you don't want to think about religion, think of nature. We're all part of the same nature that's created the animals, the birds, the plants, the trees, and us as well. So,
and just not thinking about spirituality and all. Are we all looking for the same things in life?
yeah.
Yes.
Right. We all want to be happy. We all want to eat.
Yeah, we all look for Nisarga.
Okay, in Nisarga we all become one.
Yeah.
Can we put it like that?
Yeah, I really
Right.
love the theme and the message
it's-
in this song.
It's about oneness, basically.
Yeah. And I think that also reflects in what we believe as people, because when it comes to art, we feel that there are so many different art forms, but they're all looking for the same thing, just excellence.
It's all expression.
Expression of one's emotions, excellence in whatever you pursue. Everybody is following that. Everybody wants to become better at what they do and to project their art form in the best way they know. So art forms, though different and diverse, they all basically form
Share commonalities.
under the same blanket.
And connecting also.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
In fact, we've had artists from not just all parts of India, from outside of India. We've had artists from London, from
Argentina.
from Argentina,
So funny.
from Canada,
Yeah.
from France.
Yeah.
So and we realized that we're all actually
One and the same.
very similar people in our thought processes, in
Yeah.
what we want for ourselves as
It's
artists.
true. Actually, for me, I mean, I connected so quickly with you two, and I felt very at home very fast. So
Very
that's
happy to
really
hear
nice.
that. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you another question about how you use your art form like as a tool in your life, and then in this space,
Yeah.
making it available for artists to come and do their music. What are you hoping is the outcome? How can they use music within
Right.
Kerala, within their community?
Okay. We have. I think there can be 2-3 different answers to this, but one thing we didn't even realize would happen, and we're very happy that it is Carnatic music. Like I said, is a very very niche art form that not many people are exposed to. But thanks to this space, people who aren't even really, they don't know what Carnatic music is. They know about the space, the architecture, or the space and what we do here, and they just want to experience whatever happens here because of the outdoor space or the uniqueness of the experience of nature and art together. So they come here not really knowing what the art form is that is being presented, but they eventually get exposed to art forms like Carnatic music, Hindustani, Drupad, these niche art forms that they may otherwise not go and listen to. And so artists who've performed here keep telling us that the audience that they have here is not the typical audience that they play to or sing to.
True.
And
Because
that,
it's not a conventional venue.
it's not. And that, I think, Touchwood, or eventually I hope, will do a good thing to the art form itself, and the art form that is so close to our hearts, that I think everybody nowadays, our generation, thinks about how to get this art form to reach more people, and to for sustenance.
Because it's an incredible art form.
It's an
It has to-
incredible art form that has such history and so much depth and so much intellectual
It is.
creativity.
Beauty, yeah.
And for you, when you sing this Carnatic music, what is it that it does for you internally?
Oh, wow. For me, it does 2 things. Definitely stimulates me intellectually, where I keep challenging myself. Like, for example, if I sing a raga today, Kalyani, and I sing the same raga tomorrow, it's not going to be the same because it's improvised. And I guess I'm looking at myself as my competitor, or rather, how much am I improving every day? How much more of the raga am I understanding with every composition I learn, or with every concert I listen to? Because there's a lot of learning that happens constantly, continuously, forever.
Yeah. For me, I think it is more. It is a tool for understanding myself, because through music I know how my subconscious mind is behaving, because it's all coming from the subconscious mind, because of the highly improvisational nature of the art form.
Yes.
The conscious mind is very minimally involved,
Yeah.
but every just whatever comes out of me, it just flows. I'm in the flow. In the right circumstances, I'm in the flow. I lose myself. I don't even know where I'm singing. I don't even know that it's me who is singing. It's
Right.
just coming out. So I have moments of bliss, as it's called,
Yeah.
which otherwise it's very hard to get, because we are all totally distracted by so many different things. So this is one moment or time where I can really get totally immersed into something.
It's
So
like a
that's-
meditation.
Mm.
Also,
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, I feel like that actually with my music, even though it's not Karnatic, but
It doesn't have
No,
to.
I think any music has that
Power to do that to
power.
you.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Even with events that have happened here, I realized that live music is something that is so powerful because it forces you to be in the moment.
That's true.
There's so much content available online. You can always listen to concerts that are on YouTube or whatever, but are you being present? How much of it are you actually soaking in if you're listening to a concert on YouTube, but you're actually looking at Instagram on your phone? I'm not judging anybody, but I do this myself. I'm just talking about myself here. But when I'm listening to a live concert, I feel very present, very in the moment.
The connection is strong.
It's
Yes.
very strong. It moves me so much. And
Because it is not a superficial level of connection happening. It's a
Yeah.
deeper level of connection.
right.
It's not like I'm singing about something and you're just following the words. No, it is much deeper level of connection. It is connection through emotions, connection through energy, I
Yeah.
would say.
Energy, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
And so for your community, you want to expose them to new audiences also.
Yes.
And so that's just one aspect
That's
of
just
what
one.
we do.
In fact, new audiences to the existing art forms, yes, but new art forms to the existing audience as well. Because, for example, we've had like a varied art forms like string quartet, like film music, classical concerts. We even had something called plant music, which I was listening to for the very, very first time.
The one with the mushrooms.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Can you hear mushrooms sing? I didn't know this. And that was just phenomenal because people here were just blown away by the possibilities and the sheer newness of everything. The experience was just
So every new art form brings something
of value.
valuable
Yeah.
to the space
Yeah.
and to the people who are already in the family now.
Yeah.
And
In
the
fact,
family
it may
is growing.
sound abstract, but we feel the energy of the space is actually improving and multiplying with every concert and workshop or class that happens here. It's
Yeah.
just the people, the artists, they just bring so much positivity and energy with them that we feel that every day living
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And I think thirdly, the very fact that people are coming together,
Exactly.
through arts.
Community.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Yes.
a healthy way of bringing people together.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think I've already interviewed you for very long enough. We've sweated
No,
a lot
can
because
we?
there's no AC. And it's like
Yeah,
super
it's-
humid in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now,
we'll,
can we interview you?
we can wrap up. Oh yeah, please ask me whatever you want.
Okay, so how's it been in India so far?
Actually, it's been really very special, and the other people I visited before this won't be happy to hear this, but this has been my favorite moment.
But it's been
We'll
mostly
edit
with
that out.
music, right?
No, but for me, I really loved coming to your space and meeting you and seeing what you do here because I came out of complete coincidence. And I'm not one to believe in fate or whatever,
Yeah.
but actually when life brings you to a place where it
Forces you to-
feels special and you just connect with the people like this, I feel
Meant to be.
I feel like there's this Carnatic force driving.
It's probably just the energy, right? You can call it whatever, fate, destiny, divine forms, whatever. But I think it's basically some energy around you maybe brings you to experiences that
Yeah.
you eventually.
But it's really special because I came to India to also reconnect more with my inner artist and my creativity and my spontaneity, because before I'm living in Switzerland, it's not a place that really encourages you to listen to your inner self, or because you have to plan everything. You need to already project yourself in things you don't know if you'll feel like doing them in 5 weeks, or so I had to adapt, because we must adapt to wherever we live. But then there are places that are more in tune with what you actually feel like, the way you want to live. And I think India is really great.
Awesome.
You've come to the right place.
I have come to the right place, but there's too many languages to learn. But not too much food to eat.
No. There's a lot to try here. It hits you, the flavors.
Yeah, I love it. And so to wrap up the episode, if you want, you can sing us a little piece of the Saraswati song if you'd like.
Okay.
Because it was so special to hear you the first time. I want more for the audience.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Shri Saraswati Namostute Amba Shri Saraswati Namostute Varade Shri Saraswati Namostute Paradevate Shri Saraswati Namostute Paradevate Shri Gauri Pati Guru Guha Vinute Vidhiyuvade Shri Saraswati Namostute.
Wow, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So this was a song for Saraswati,
Yes.
the goddess of knowledge.
Yes, and this is an existing composition. The composer's name is Muthuswami Dikshitar, and it's probably centuries old. And
2 centuries ago.
Yeah, and this is just our interpretation using the 2-part harmony. We tried to use this particular raga called Arabhi to try to harmonize and sing our parts.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
And I will share all the YouTube links to your videos
Sure.
in the podcast episode. And
That
I
would be
think
great.
that we can happily close the Annabelization episode.
This was such a pleasure.
It was so
Yeah.
special. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And I'll do a little to end the episode.
Bye.